right. Last time, we had a lot of different things happen, and we collected a lot of different information. The adventure started out with our characters taking care of a lot of personal business, and Omi's personal business actually went awry and landed him in jail for a couple days, which was quite an adventure in itself. After he got out of jail, the adventurers got together and were summoned by Yovir Glandon, High Priest of Kelemvor, to come out to Valhingen Graveyard to have a discussion with him. Once we arrived there, he told us about rumors of a ghost ship attacking small villages with undead. He also told us about a madman that had been brought to the temple. So we went to this temple and to speak with this madman who was informally called Yip, because that's the sound he kept making.
Yep.
And he kept talking about the eyes of a Dracolich. He kept repeating the eyes. And while we were at the temple, we also picked up some holy water and got a bran muffin blessed while we were there.
Yeah, that tasted really good.
From there, one of our party members had the idea to track down Sergeant Hearn, who directed us to Alaid Baral, who told us that she was worried that Flan might eventually be attacked by all these attacks that have been occurring at villages surrounding Flan. She's the one actually who found the madman, and when she found the madman had blade wounds on him. And then she also told us that Vig's dock was attacked, and that there were like several farmhouses that had been attacked somewhere to the west of Flan, and they were getting closer. The odd thing about the attacks is that there was a lack of survivors and nothing of real value taken from the attacks. Also, there were child-sized tracks at the sites of these attacks. And the attacks have been occurring she told us that the attacks have been occurring at regular intervals, and she predicted that there would be another night attack in approximately 2 days, and then if the pattern held, Flan would be hit 4 days subsequently thereafter. From there, we went to visit Philistram Wondercondoodle, who was somewhat of a gnome sage. He had a jar of toe bones, which were taken from the site of one of the attacks. These toe bones had holes in them, possibly to be used as necklaces, and he thought that these toes maybe belonged to kobolds, orcs, or goblins. From there, a few of our party members were met by their faction associates who received various faction assignments. Afterwards, we set out to visit a fortune teller named Delacrae. We consulted with her, and she told us that she would send a crow with the reading we requested whenever it was ready. So heading out, So heading out of the west gate, Guard Burl stopped us, and he said as long as we're heading out in this direction, he wanted us to look for a merchant caravan that is a couple days late arriving to Flan. Said the merchant's name was Gilfran Millen, and he had a son who was about 10 years old, and he wanted to know why they had not arrived in Flan. And this was to occur, and this was somewhere along the Iron Route, which is a road which stretches from Flan to Zenkeep. The travel time to the village we estimated to be approximately 1 day.
Nice job on the recap. Very nice.
Thank you.
Alright, so you guys are on the Iron Route. You left the night before. Raz wanted to use his tent. So as you can hear, you guys can hear a campfire crackling in the background. So what are you guys discussing? Because we kind of ended it, I don't want to say abruptly, but we had a great stopping point as you were leaving Flan. So it's the middle of the night. You guys have pitched tents, especially old Varys. What are you guys doing sitting around this campfire as the rain starts to shower down on you very lightly at this moment in time? Love it.
I'm sitting polishing my spoons, as they say. Looks like we got quite a mystery on our hands here, guys.
Yeah, it's reflecting what it is doing these attacks. Rumours of the undead and alike, but I don't see how that sort of power of undead could be wandering through the lands and quite as unnoticed. It doesn't kind of add up.
Shin's just checking out the location of the moon. Does it look like it's where it should be? The constellations, the stars are in their appropriate places where they're supposed to be at.
All right. What about
It's
Varys.
raining. How can you see the moon?
what about what's going on with you, Varys?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Everybody can hear. one
Okay,
another.
just making sure my mic wasn't muted. If it's raining, I'm in my tent. I'm gonna stay dry.
At least you're getting good use out of that tent, right?
You sleeping?
Yep. No, I'm just in there, probably reading a book by the campfire light that reflects off the campfire.
All
But
right.
I'm staying dry. I don't want to get wet.
It's raining lightly. It's not like it's not like it's pouring down on you or anything like that. So, Marcus, what about you?
Well, Marcus is always in for a good joke now and then. I look over to Omi and say, "Those damn spoons are polished enough." Don't you know a good joke around here rather than slapping spoons on yourself? Every campfire needs a couple of good ones. Let's go. Start us off.
All right, how about a limerick this time? How's that sound?
Oh, I love a limerick. Let's go.
All right. It was a salty old sailor named Bates who tripped over a stack of wooden crates. He fell on his cutlass, which rendered him nutless. Now he's practically useless on dates.
That's classic.
I look over at Shen and say, "Hey, you
Good one.
sailor boy, you've heard that one before, I'm sure.
Yes, more than once.
Good
More
one.
than once. Yes, yes.
You gotta have some good salty tales from the sea. Come on, Shen, give us one."
Shin was the one they actually wrote that joke. Well, that nice little joke for. Actually,
I know that guy. I don't got nothing. Sorry.
Well, I got
Study and prepare for
a salty one about a dwarf named Dorothy.
about Dorothy. Let's hear it.
We all know Dorothy doesn't have a beard anymore because of a singe, right? So it's more about dwarves than it's about her. But just how many dwarves would it take to change out a candle? The answer would be 5. It's 1 to hold the bulb and 4 to drink till the room spins.
Ah.
And the last one will be the difference between. Yeah, anyone know the difference between a dwarf and a fairy?
Nope.
Well, telling the
No.
fairy the dwarf isn't an insult.
Ooh, I like that one. Sure, you guys are probably already tired of those crit and fumble noises already. All right, everybody's had a good night's sleep. Everybody deduct a day's worth of rations from your inventory, please. And the sun rises. The rain is still actually falling, though. It's still falling at a very gentle pace. It's not hammering down on you or anything like that. So
I'd like to know if I can hear Vera sleeping at all
sure, you
throughout
can.
the night.
I'm sure you probably could. Yeah,
Maybe during my watch.
yeah. You can look over at his tent and see that he's snoring inside.
I'm gonna try and.
I don't
sneakily-
snore.
I would like to sneakily poke holes in the top
I
of
don't-
his tent so that rain gets in on him.
Oh God.
I don't sleep either. I'm in a trance.
Why don't we just de-pitch the tent, move the tent, and leave him where he's lying, and put the tent up somewhere else?
Oh, I like it. Cut the ropes, just pick it up and move it.
Yeah. So and just leave him lying where he is.
Well, if he's in a trance, he might. I don't know. If he's in a trance, you're in a pretty deep meditating state. So I would probably have to say you need to roll a perception check. I think
Do
that
we
would
do
be
it with
fair.
stealth? Do it with stealth to make sure that to
Sure.
try and let him stay asleep.
Sure.
All right, I'll do a stealth check against his perception check.
All right. So
I'm going to use inspiration on
Okay,
this.
before you guys roll, put those into the tower, and Varys, I want you to give me a perception roll in the tower also, please. So I want to see what the heck is going on here. And I love this new extension with the bigger font. Thank you, Lord Gwydon. Lord Gwydion, man. What a stud. Great new extension for the font size. Well, as you guys are fumbling around, Varys, actually, you're awoken out of your transic state, and you start to feel the tent rumble all around you. As it feels like you're sliding across the ground, Varys.
Hey man, what gives?
Orcs everywhere! Get out!
Oh,
I grab my 2 short swords and head out. Where's the work?
all right. So when you
they must have
head out, you're all getting into like a combat type of rage, and all of a sudden you look around and all you see is just Markish pulling your tent. Well, of course, Kalash is involved too. So
Oh, Cal had this stupid idea about messing with you. Just go back to bed. Sorry.
Your turn for watch.
My turn for the watch.
Yeah,
no,
so it would
the
just
sun has already come up. Sun has already come up. That was at the very end of the last watch.
we got
It is
next
worth a
move.
shot.
We need.
It's time to get up anyway.
Yeah, if you got some breakfast, you can start making it.
Yeah, the sun has come up. Like I said, the rain is still drizzling down on you. It is a semi-overcast day. Sun's come up. Birds are really they're not chirping this morning because of the rain. But you can see occasional birds flying over and whatnot.
So are we where we're supposed to be, or do we still have to travel?
You guys are here. Here's the map of the Moon Sea.
Yeah, I think
This
we've
is
got
the
that another
area.
day to wait before
Yeah.
the due attack.
You guys have traveled a little bit, and like I said, you guys are riding on horseback also. So you've had some horses lent to you. And you guys are packing all of your goods up and packing all of your equipment up, putting your tent away, I suppose, and getting ready to get back on the road. The horses are grazing and kind of drinking out of small puddles on the ground too, so, or whatever buckets that you set up for them if you had done that. Well, you guys are really quiet tonight.
Are we able to? It's the morning now. But have we gotten
It
a
is.
raven from that old lady yet?
You have not yet.
And during our travels, we kind of kept an eye out for, say, cart tracks that look like they may have gone off the road, or that request from Guard Rural. I guess we're just kind of keeping an eye out. I'd like to keep an eye out for this merchant and his son.
Yeah, there's no wagon tracks in the present location where you're at.
Nothing in the mud, nothing recent.
No, nothing. No, nothing recent, because you guys would have probably heard it go by anyway. So,
Do you guys think Delacrae scammed us, or do you think she's actually going to send us a message?
I think no matter what she does, it's crazy. That old bat. Even if you got a Raven, I don't know if I trust it.
So, did you actually poke holes in my tent?
No, I got talked into trying to move it. Really should have done it, though.
Oh, okay.
I can just see you standing over his tent with your knife out
Daggers in hand,
and
over,
just ready to poke into it,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden, nothing.
sees the shadow or something.
Yeah.
Move the opening to right in front of the latrine hole.
Oh God. All right, so you guys get everything packed up. No holes in your tent, Varys. Everything put away. You get back on your horses, and you're proceeding west along the road.
I'd like to make some good time.
Iron
so
route.
I don't want to take a slow pace, but I do want to keep a watchful eye. I'd like to get it to this spot as soon as possible, so we can do some investigating before the night's activities.
Sure.
Yeah, try and suss out the area, kind of work out what the best location is to maybe be defensive stance and stuff like that.
You guys are on the Iron Route. This is the main road that goes along the north side of the Moon Sea. It runs from, as you can see on the map, it runs from Zental Keep to the west, all the way to Flan, and then even beyond, even further west and further east. Now you guys are traveling pretty swiftly, pretty safely. Nothing's going on except for the rain. Horses aren't having any kind of issues or anything like that. And everything's going as pretty much as expected. And although there has been some unpredictable trouble along this coast. Now, as the sun starts to come a little bit higher overhead, these storm clouds are still letting a light rain on you. And you can see it's not a complete overcast day. And you're well on your way west. And I would say probably around noon or so, off in the distance as you start to come over a small little rolling hill, you can see that there's a wagon pulled off to one of the sides of the road. And it looks like it's kind of tilted, probably with like a broken axle. And then as you get closer, you can see it does have a broken axle. And you can see two people there. You can see a young boy that's sort of off to the side, tending to a campfire as you're riding up. And then there's another man that looks totally like a merchant. And, he's got long clothing and stuff. And he's digging into into the front of the wagon on one of those packs. And as you guys start to ride up, he hears the horses coming up behind him. He turns around. The boy sees you. He kind of stands up, starts to walk over by the rear of the wagon, and you can see him kind of peering around. And it's, the older gentleman, he kind of stops out in the middle of the road, and he puts his hand up, and he says, "Hail, my friends, hail!" And he's kind of like waving, like he's trying to get your attention, which obviously you had already seen him anyway. So he's waving his hands. He says, "Hail, my friends, hail! Hail!"
Greetings. What seems to be the problem?
As you can see, I've got a broken axle on my wagon, and I'm trying to get to Flan. Do you guys think you could lend me some muscle, maybe? My name is Gilfrin Millen, and I am a lumber merchant from the Quivering Forest. If you need anything, like tools or anything, I have those as well, so I'm a merchant at your service.
Please, Mr. Gilfrin. Yes, I may have need your services and some of your wares. I'm sure we could give you a hand in some respect. Unfortunately, we won't be going back to Flan for a day or so, but I'm sure we could try to help you fix your wagon so you can make your way.
Oh, that's no problem. I've missed a couple of meetings already with some possible clients in Flan. I was supposed to arrive last night, but with my broken axle and all, I have my son with me, and we just don't have enough umph, I guess you could say, between the two of us to get this, this wagon up to where I can fix the wheel and whatnot, and the axle. But if you guys could give us a little bit of a hand, I'm sure maybe we could work out a deal. Maybe I could give you a couple of tools, or maybe I could even give you a little credit, or maybe even give you a couple coins.
I'm
Fair
sure
enough.
that could be done.
You know a guard Burl back in Flan.
Yes, yeah, she's usually tending one of the gates that I usually check in when, anytime a wagon or caravan comes into Flane, we usually have to check in. Yeah, I remember the name, absolutely. Why?
She was worried about you. She, as we were heading out, she asked us to keep an eye out for you and your son.
Oh, wow. Wow, it's nice to see Flan actually expecting their merchants and actually worrying about the expected merchants that are supposed to be traveling through. Wow. I feel
Yeah,
like
she said, so
I
long
feel
as
like
we're
10 gold coins right now to hear that.
10, that might be what I had in mind as well.
He seems like a pretty happy guy. You know, he is literally drenched from head to toe. You know, you can just see the water just dripping and just kind of like running off of his robe. He's been trying to get this, and you can tell that there's a lot of struggle marks on that back axle where the wagon's kind of leaning down. He's been trying to, you know, there's all kinds of pieces of lumber and a couple of jacks and whatnot. He just can't get this damn thing up off of the ground.
We'll go and lend a hand.
He does look over and he says, "It is almost lunchtime. Would you like to join us for a little bit of food before, if you guys want to help? You know, hey, you're more than welcome to join us."
Did I
My
get lunch
son,
mentioned?
he's good with my son's good with a bow, and you're more than welcome to join us. He has a rabbit and a duck cooking over the spit. There was a group of ducks that were swimming by this morning, and my son took a shot and got one. And then there was a duck. He also got a duck too. Wow, he's such a good shot. He didn't shoot all the baby ducks, so he just let them go. So
I'm sure they'll survive.
We're not having any kind of venison duck or anything. Just
Oh,
yeah, you
while
can
we're
see
waiting
over,
there,
yeah, you can actually
What?
see over he has like a sort of like a rotisserie rack over the fire, and these things are just his son's over there kind of turning them. You know, you could see that there's 2 pieces of meat up there.
while we're waiting for this to finish off cooking, why don't we have a little entertainment? I'm sure Omi here would be more than willing to play a little song with his spoons.
Absolutely.
And I'd be happy to join him by playing a little merry tune on my flute to accompany his spoons.
Oh, they don't need artisans, you fools. They need muscle to lift this and change the axle.
Like we said, we'd help him with the muscle after we've had some light lunch.
Guilford says, "Dear, a good bod, sir, will your song make my wagon levitate?" And he kind of chuckles. Will you?
If only it could. The things I can make levitate of the women, that would be amazing. Unfortunately, I am not of that bardic powers to be able to achieve such feats.
Don't worry, I can provide motivation.
Too good.
I don't think I have much muscles though, as I look at my bicep, and Omi is shaggy, skinny.
So you guys go over to the little camp area that he has. You know, he introduces you to his son, and his son's name is Gil Mons. And you know, he says, as you guys start to sit down and whatnot, and actually he breaks out a really nice cask of elvish wine, and he starts, you know, getting everyone a nice big metal cup, you know, and starts filling it up. And he says, "Yeah, ever since my wife died, she died of a fever 3 years ago. My son travels in my company now, learning the family business. And one day,
Where do you hail from?
all of this is going to be his." Well, we are from the Quivering Forest, and we do have several wagons that not only manned by me, but my other business associates as well. And we travel around the area and sell the lumber. We know we have permission from the elves of the Quivering Forest, and that's what we do. Sell tools and lumber.
So, I mean, how long have you been traveling the Iron Road from the east?
Well, we left actually from Hillsfar, and we are, we got some another. It takes us quite a few months to do a circuit. I call it the circuit, and about every 3 months or so we end up back in Flam. 3 to 4 months depends on where we go. But we did start this time. We started in Hillsfar, which is to the south. It's on the opposite end of the Moon Sea, where you guys are at now, basically. Now moving
Yeah,
a little
that's
pointer on here.
quite a distance. That is.
Yeah, he says, "Aye, it is." He says that's why it takes quite a few months. And you can see on his wagon, there's all kinds of axes and saws and long blades and pulleys, all kinds of ropes, 10-foot poles, everything, all kinds of metal goods, anything that has to do with working lumber. He's selling it. And also, he's
Excellent,
got
sir.
some other stuff as well, some basic equipment he has as well. But he seems really friendly.
What can I procure some tools and lumber for a shipment to the temple in the centre of Flan when you do arrive? We're looking to reconstruct the old temple of Bane there into a multi-faith temple, and all provisions would be greatly appreciated, sir. I'm willing to purchase some off yourself, if, by all means. Just curious on how much it cost.
Well, I tell you what, since you're doing me a favor, I will give you the tools that you need, and I'll give you any kind of extra lumber that I have left over that isn't sold in Flan. So whatever I
that's
have
very
left over,
generous.
I will, because Flan is my last stop, and I'll let you have whatever. It'll just make it easier on my horses on the way back. So.
So Marrakesh, should we try and lift this wagon up and see if we can get this fixed before lunch?
Well, we don't have to rush it. I mean, we can go ahead. We can eat we can eat first. I mean, it's not a problem.
No, you work, then eat. That's how this works.
But hey, I'm not
Build up
going
the
to.
appetite
Hey,
and then
I could use a bit of time off
Take it.
this bloody horse anyway.
that sounds good to me. My son will finish cooking. Just let us know, son, whenever it's done. He goes, "Okay, Dad." so as you guys are going over to work on the wagon, he tells you he has a little. He just has a small company, just a handful of wagons, and like you said, he just sells anything that has to do with lumber all along the Moon Sea. And sometimes he deals in large quantities and stuff, and that's when his other associates, they take care of the larger orders and stuff. Now he also says, yeah, we should maybe hurry a little bit, because there's been a lot of raided villages and homes along the Moon Sea. He says, as a matter of fact, there was a village that I stopped at, that I usually stay and bathe and have a nice hot meal, but it was in ruins, and it was smoldering, and there was no one there. I was actually taken back by it. So
how
I
long
basically
ago was that when you were there?
that was a couple of days ago, just 2 days ago. And there was no one there, and then I've ran into a couple of other merchants that I usually see every couple months, and we had stopped and talked and actually discussed that I've actually found out that there's been more than just this attack on this small town. Actually, it's been happening all across the Moon Sea coast. I've never seen anything like this in the 20 years that I've been running this route.
Well, merchants always hears rumors. What do you hear?
I'm just worried for my boy. I just don't want him to get hurt if there anything. But I something that my son told me a couple of days ago. We actually took a ferry because there's been quite a few rains, and a couple of the roads have been flooded out, so we had to take a ferry. And as we took this ferry, the driver of the boat, or the boatman, he mentioned a Draco-lish. He was a strange man. He had this